in here. You gotta, if you can't beat them, join them, and then take them over. That's what I say. So, you know, sometimes you're like, what are you gonna do with your time and space in this world? And I don't wanna do the typical things, so I'm out here reading books. I wanna jump on that old bandwagon that I used to be on, and Casanat picked it up recently. So shout out to Casanat. That's pretty cool. Reading is fundamental. You know what I'm saying? And look how many books I got in this moment. I live in a library, god damn it. So why am I not reading? Well, sometimes you don't know if people are interested in the things that you're caring about. So, but now I don't give a motherfucking flying motherfucker. So I care about something, and it's 2026, and I'm having a fantastic year so far. Fantastic. Mwah. Exquisite. Spectacular. Phenomenal. So yeah, I just want to dive in, get into it, get involved, like James Brown said. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna be reading from my favorite topic and my favorite thing, sexual revolution. I was reading this last year, but you know, things happen. But other things happen, and now I'm back. So I'm trying to get a little 10 minutes, 10 minutes when we can. I'm gonna try to find a rhythm for this and just get it popping. So I'm just gonna dive back in where I started. So if you read the old videos and saw the old stuff, you know where I'm coming from. If not, this is a great place to start. It's called The First Kiss. So this is from Sexual Revolution, Laurie Penny. It's a fantastic book. And let me just read the cover just so you get a little summary. This is a story about how modern masculinity is killing the world and how feminism can save it. It's a story about sex and power and trauma and resistance and persistence. And at the heart of that story is one simple idea. We are in the middle of a sexual revolution. Yeah. And the subtitle is Modern Fascism and the Feminist Fight Back. I fuck with that because actually the number one prevailing, overarching, eternal, permanent core statement, a RoboCop prime directive, if you will, of Malcolm Lovejoy is sexual rights are the civil rights of the 21st century. I have always thought that. I will always believe that. I always make porn and my sexual content and everything I do is in liberation of freedom and human expression and human intimate everything. So we're just trying to fight against the blood clot fuckery. Let's see what Laurie Penny has to say. We do a little 10-minute little something, and then call it a night. Thank you. Well, I'll work out a schedule, so this ain't the last time you're going to see me. The aggrieved entitlement of ordinary men trying to carve a philosophy out of their refusal to manage a moment's comfort is easy to exploit. It can be marshaled. It can be channeled. The promise of restoring lost white masculine pride sells policy, delivers votes, and anoints emperors. And sexual entitlement is the language in which that promise is spoken. Ooh, it's already sounding like you know who in the Oval Office at this very moment in time. Enemy Agent Orange. Free Greenland, eh? Around the world, the far right is on the rise, and feminism has been identified as its enemy. Steve Bannon, the Breitbart CEO, former chief advisor to Donald Trump, already, boom, bullseye, we hitting it. And the man more responsible than any other individual in the world for shaping the alt-right into the political force that it is today, explicitly used male fear of female power to build a movement. Bannon called modern feminism the single most powerful potential political movement in the world, or what I call the anti-patriarchy movement. And Bannon was not the only right-wing demagogue to weaponize misogyny for his own ends. The new far right uses tools of political coercion that evolved from dating strategies designed to work around women's sexual consent. You can trace many of the tactics and cod philosophies of modern fascism back to the cultural sewer of online men's groups. to communities of miserable, frustrated young men drawn together by common resentment of womankind. Dirty. As we'll see in later chapters, modern fascism targets vulnerable young white men and convinces them that feminism, anti-racism, and liberalism are a threat to the very soul of white Western manhood. Yeah, it's such fuckery. Here, MAGA. Bullshit. They rest on a foundation of fraudulence and cannot and will not last. In fact, modern masculinity is its own worst enemy. This is so real. Break it down, baby. In the years since the financial crash of 2008, countless millions of men have grown up and grown older facing insecurity, lack of stability, lacking everything that was supposed to give their lives meaning. Amongst the few things they have left to give is a sense of familiarity and purpose. Are traditional gender roles, specifically the social scripts that reserve respect and status for strong men who can attract and dominate submissive women. This convinces many men what's really lacking in their lives is not economic justice or social security, but simply a woman, any woman, to care for them and prop up the shards of an ego shredded by modern life. He's killing it. A woman to make them feel important, needed, seen, and heard when so little else in the world does. It is easier, after all, to blame women, feminism, and woke culture for everything that feels unfamiliar in modern life than it is to blame the economy or the government or yourself. These are eternal gunshots. When society becomes unstable and men feel fragile and insecure, women suffer. As daily life becomes more precarious and public funding for healthcare, welfare, housing, education, and social care is cut by governments around the world, women are expected to step in and provide more and more of that vital work and care, either for free, within relationships, or in the low-paid, low-status, insecure domestic jobs that are filled overwhelmingly by immigrant and working-class women. During COVID-19 lockdowns of 2020, as millions of people were forced to shelter in place with abusive partners and spouses, domestic violence more than doubled. Of course, women have also had to grow up and build lives in the same toxic, demeaning job market on the same burning planet. Women have had to survive falling wages and rising rents, unimaginable debts and career insecurity. And on top of all that, women have had to also survive the men who blame them for it all. All over the world, women are under attack as a political class. The barrage is social, economic, and interpersonal, and it is happening on every front. There has been an enormous rise in the reports of sexual harassment in recent years, thanks in part to the Me Too movement, and that rise is not at all down to increased reporting. According to U.S. National Crime Victimization Survey, self-reported incidences of rape or sexual assault more than doubled in 2017 to 2018. In the UK, despite a similar rise in self-reported experiences of violence, prosecutions of rape cases are currently at a 10-year low. Prosecutions of it. This is something, as I know as a sex worker, that it's less than 2% of all actual sexual assaults reach a courtroom. Less than 2%. So this is why women don't give a flying fuck. They're like, the justice system will not do anything, and society won't do anything, the police won't do anything, and the media won't do anything. So this is why most people who've been abused don't say much. And it's the worst crime in the world. The worst crime in the world. The number one worst. I digress. The barrage is social, economic, and interpersonal, and it is happening on every front. There's been an enormous rise in reports of sexual... Oh, I already read that. And the rise is not at all down to increased reporting. According to the U.S. National Crime Victimization Survey, self-reported incidences of rape and sexual assault more than doubled in 2017 to 2018. In the UK, despite a similar rise in self-reported experiences of violence, prosecutions of rape cases are currently at a 10-year low. While violent crime as a whole has declined around the developed world since the 1990s, gendered violence is a consistent and increasing danger to the lives of women and girls, and the response from traditional institutions of justice has been deafening disinterest. These cops don't care, these politicians don't care, and these blood clots are actually part of the problem. Intimate partner violence against women is still treated as a private matter rather than an issue of public justice. Thank you for those who are listening in. Meanwhile, abortion provision is being violently undermined across the globe. Newly emboldened by the appointment of conservative Associate Justice Brett Kavanaugh to the U.S. Supreme Court, states across America have been passing bills virtually banning the practice. In countries like Poland and Spain, hard-won laws enshrining women's right to choose to terminate pregnancy have been rolled back. Again, it's crucial to understand where this has started, that the right-wing movement against reproductive rights has been gathering momentum for decades. It began in the 1980s as a deliberate response to second-wave feminism and the new freedoms some women were beginning to enjoy, and as a way to unite Southern conservatives against black liberation. There was a pattern here, a single thread running from the Me Too movement to the surge in misogynistic violence. From the backlash against abortion rights across the global north to the drastic decline in birth rates around the world and the terrifying rise in young men committing mass murder in the name of sexual revenge, as this book explores in later chapters. There's a pattern behind all of it. The common denominator is fear. Fear of change. Fear of irrelevance. Fear of women. Fear of how women are changing, becoming freer, braver, less inclined to place men's comfort above their own human rights. The common denominator is moral outrage. Outrage that oppressed people are daring to name their own oppression, that victims of abuse are no longer sticking to their prescribed social role, no longer hiding the damage that has been done to them, and beginning to demand consequences. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Because I don't give a flying motherfucker if evil wants to be evil. You're going to do what you're going to do. What really matters is if justice is going to be justice and punishment is going to be punishment. Because evil people might think twice about doing the evil bullshit, corrupt shit they do in the world if they were going to be punished for it. Especially if they know it's specifically evil and destructive and corrupt. But, look at that president. There is no punishment for anything that he does. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So the difference between selfish and greed and absolute outright evil doesn't even matter. Every day. So, this Greenland thing looks real good. You try to take Greenland, you done, son. Anyways, we've passed the 10-minute mark, so I'm just going to read this last paragraph. And thank you to everybody who checked in. We just getting warmed up, baby. It feels good to read. I like to sharpen my eyeball swords and get my vocal chops popping and, learn new words and shit. There's not any words that I don't know already, but if I need to look something up, I would. All right, last paragraph, and then we're done for the night. Thank you for listening. The sexual revolution confronts abuse of power at every level. And this book deals explicitly with abuse, exploitation, and trauma, not just as an individual problem, but as a political phenomenon. The logic of abuse is central to the way in which power operates, from world governments, institutions, and industries to individual families. This book argues that many traditional models of social organization, from the nuclear family to parliamentary politics, do not simply enable abuse, they require abuse. They require that exploitation, bullying, male supremacy, and white supremacy be normal and normalized. Facts. Our culture is shaped and reshaped by abuse and by the scars it leaves on the individual and collective psyche. But abuse has been rarely deemed worthy of political attention. Instead, where it is spoken of at all, it is usually something that has to be borne in private, healed in isolation. And that's useful because it places all the responsibility for change on the individual who suffers, and not on the systems that cause the suffering. Just in case anyone fails to get the message, those who do speak out about abuse can expect punishment and public humiliation, especially if they are women. That's a horrible reality, but is what we're dealing with, and that's a decent place to stop. Thank you very much to everybody who checked in. Malcolm Upjoy reading. What am I drinking here? I'm drinking some eggnog. Some oat nog. It's not. I don't do milk. Personally, I can't. Peace to those who do, but I got some sweet eggnog here. Having a nice drink. Enjoying the evening. And I'd like to try to read. I'm going to see if I can do this 2 to 3 times a week. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know on my page something. We're going to get a little more consistent here. I'm going to get my YouTube popping. It's a good time. Got to get out there. So Thank you very much. I love y'all. This oat nog is so good. Oh, it's Earth Zone. I mean, I don't have no sponsors yet. So maybe I'll get some sponsors later on this year. That would be great, right? Earth Zone eggnog. Oh, delicious. Anyways, be good to yourself, and I'll catch you later. Spread the love, joy.